Hi there friends, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech, and in this video, I'll be showing you all the best features of the Realme GT Neo 2. By the way, I've already posted a dedicated video for the tips and tricks section where I've talked about many things which I won't be covering in this video. So definitely check out that video as well, link will be in the description. Now with that said, the most highlighting feature about this phone would be its performance. This phone sports a Snapdragon 870 processor with Adreno 650 GPU with up to 12GB of RAM and up to 256GB of UFS 3.1 storage. These are the benchmark scores. Purely in terms of performance, it is definitely one of the most powerful phones that you can get in this price segment. Next best thing about this phone would be its super impressive charging speeds. This phone comes with a 65-watt super dart charger inside the box, and that's coupled with a 5000 mAh battery. You can completely charge your phone from 0 to 100% in just 36 minutes. And that's definitely some pretty impressive charging speeds. For most of the time, you can just get up to 80% of charge in just about 20 minutes. So charging speeds on this phone are definitely a great selling point for this phone. Next best thing about this phone would definitely be its display. This phone comes with a 6.62-inch E4 AMOLED display with 120Hz screen refresh rate, 92% screen to body ratio with a peak brightness of 1300 nits. It has HDR10 Plus support, 360-degree dual ambient light sensors, sunlight mode, night mode, and many more cool features. Overall, this is one of the best displays that you can get in this price segment. With that said, here's a quick look at how the display looks like. Next, this one also comes with a pretty impressive haptic engine. Realme calls it the Tactile Engine 2.0, and the haptic feedback on this phone is definitely much better than other phones in this price segment. This is another one of those flagship kind of features that you can find on this phone. Next, this one also comes with some pretty impressive cameras. On the rear, it's got a triple camera setup with a 64 megapixel primary camera with f1.8 aperture. For selfies, we get a 16 megapixel camera with f2.5 aperture. These are some sample shots. Next, this one also comes with a pretty fast in-display fingerprint scanner. Well, here's a quick preview. Fingerprint scanner works really well, it's fast and almost unlocks the phone instantaneously. And you also get a nice haptic feedback every time you unlock the phone, which adds to the overall experience. Next, we also got the face unlock feature on this phone. In good lighting conditions and even in low lighting conditions, face unlock works really well, it's super fast and almost unlocks the phone instantaneously. In complete darkness, face unlock still works, but it takes about a second or two to unlock depending upon the distance between your phone and your face. Overall, face unlock works really well and it's definitely usable. Next, this one also comes with a wide-angle camera. It is an 8 megapixel ultra wide-angle camera with f2.3 aperture with 119-degree field of view. These are some sample shots. Next, this one also comes with a dedicated ultra macro mode, using which we can take macro shots. These are some sample shots. Next, we have a new feature called Street Mode, which is just a new name for manual mode. Now in this mode, we can switch between the cameras, and here it calls it as lenses. Primary camera is a 24mm, wide angle camera is 16mm, 2x is 50mm, and so on. In this mode, we can also take pictures in RAW format and have a little bit of more control. Overall, a nice feature, but needs a lot more tweaking. Next we have is definitely its dual stereo speakers, and they do sound pretty good. Here's a quick audio sample. Next we have Ultra 64MP mode. Even though this phone has a 64 megapixel primary camera, every time in auto mode it takes a 16 megapixel picture because of pixel binning. For some reason, if you want to take a bigger 64 megapixel picture, you can use this mode. Next we have Ultra Steady mode. This is a brand new feature from Oppo which super stabilizes the footage. Here's your regular footage recorded in normal mode and a comparison with the Ultra Steady mode. We also have something called Ultra Steady Pro Mode, which is actually supposed to be better, but the results as of now aren't that good. Maybe it can improve with an update. Here's the sample footage. Next we have a new time-lapse modes. Well, we have the regular time-lapse window and there's a new option over here for the blur effect. We have two types of blur effects, circle and lines, and you can also change the amount of blur intensity you want. This is not a big feature, but if you're someone who likes to take a lot of time-lapse, then it might be pretty handy. Next we have dynamic bokeh effect. Now this is something related to the portrait shots and their background blur effect. Next we have some new color filters for the night mode, and here's a quick preview. Next we have dual view video. Now this feature allows you to use the footage from both the front and rear cameras at the same time. There are three different modes. First we have the split screen mode where both the front and rear cameras get half of the screen. Next we have a round mode where the front camera footage is overlaid on the rear camera footage as a small round pop-up. We also have the rectangle mode where the same front camera footage is overlaid on the rear camera in the form of a small rectangular pop-up. It's a pretty cool feature, especially if you are someone who likes to vlog a lot. So guys, this is the sample footage recorded using the dual view feature, and as you can see we can use both the front and rear cameras at the same time, and there are different ways we can use the cameras, like the positioning. Besides that, I must say the quality is the same as recording both the front and rear videos at the same time. Anyway, audio is from the phone itself, so check out the noise cancellation and stabilization offered by the phone. Next we have a new feature called video bokeh for the front camera, and just like the name suggests, we can record video with a background blur effect even with the front facing camera. Earlier we used to have this feature for the rear camera, but now we also have it for the front camera. Here's a quick preview. So guys, this is another sample footage recorded using the front facing camera with the bokeh feature, and as you can see the background is blurred just like a portrait shot, but now we are recording video. Once again, the audio is from the phone itself, so check out the noise cancellation offered by this phone while I just keep walking around. Next we have a brand new personalization section where you can do all kinds of customizations. Right now there are very limited options, but we might get more options with a future update. Next we have smooth scrolling. This is just an add-on feature which will make scrolling feel much more smoother. Well, even if you enable this feature, you really won't know if it's working or not, but it's all about the experience. Personally, I don't want to use this feature, so I'll just disable it. Next we have DC dimming. This is an anti-screen flicker feature where it reduces the screen flickering issues in low brightness. This is a good feature, but it's kind of in a beta phase and it might cause display issues and auto brightness issues. So I would not recommend you to try this feature unless you're really facing some problem. Next we have a new feature called Sleep Capsule. Now this feature allows you to restrict your phone usage at night, or you can just specify the timing for better rest and sleep. Next we have some new fingerprint animation styles. So these are all the different styles and you can choose the one that you like. Now coming back to the camera features once again. Next we have AI screen enhancement. Now this is a very unique feature available only on this phone or Realme and Oppo phones. And once you turn it on, everything will pop out, colors will look super saturated and images will look very pleasing. Next we have portrait mode for both the front and rear cameras. Now this isn't a very big feature, it's been around for many years, so I won't talk about much. These are some sample shots. Next we also have a dedicated face beauty mode. Now this brings in a lot of cool features, like it can smoothen your skin, make your face thinner and even smaller, and do all sorts of crazy stuff. Have a look at this. Next, this phone also supports slow motion video recording. Here's a quick sample. Next, this phone has electronic image stabilization for both the front and rear camera video recording. This applies only at 1080p, and here's a quick sample. So guys, this is the sample footage recorded using the Realme GT Neo 2 using the front-facing camera at 1080p resolution. Audio is from the phone itself, so check out the noise cancellation and stabilization offered by the phone. Initial impressions, I must say the stabilization is pretty decent. Next, this phone has support for recording video in 4K resolution. You can change the video resolution from the toggles at the top. Now here's a sample footage recorded in 4K resolution, downscaled to 1080p. For the rear camera, it has just one gesture, that's tap to take pictures. Just enable this feature and touch the preview window to take a picture. Now for the front camera, it also has the palm gesture, and once you enable this feature, whenever your phone sees your palm, it takes a picture in 2 seconds. This feature is really handy for taking selfies. Next we have AI color portrait. You can find it from the filters, and once you enable this feature, you can capture the subject in color while the background is in black and white. This feature works better with human subjects. And you can also record videos in this mode, and this works at night as well. Next we have another new feature called bokeh flare portrait mode, which is just another new name for the night flare portrait shot. And just like the name suggests, it is another portrait mode shot where the background objects are blurred in a specific shape and things get pretty interesting if you have some lights in the background. So guys, this is the bokeh flare portrait mode. Well, it's really not that impressive in good lighting conditions or in daylighting conditions, but in low lighting conditions with a lot of smaller bulbs, you might be able to see something significantly different. Besides that, it might feel like a regular blurred video. So anyway, here's the sample footage. By the way, stabilization is pretty decent and the quality of the footage is also pretty good. Obviously edge detection isn't perfect, but it's just a fancy feature. Hi there guys, this is another new feature. Well, you can see the lights on the background. They look much different from your regular blur effect. So here's a quick preview. Next we have night mode. Now this is the famous feature that allows you to take better pictures in low lighting conditions. Whenever you are taking pictures in low lighting conditions, just make sure to switch to the night mode to get better pictures. These are some sample shots. Next we have Pro Night mode. In night mode, if you enable the Pro toggle, you get more options to manually control, like adjusting ISO, shutter speed, white balance and more. Do give it a try. Next we have Starry mode. In night mode, tap on the Starry mode, and now your phone will be able to capture the stars if you keep your phone steadily. For better results, use a tripod or just don't hold the phone in your hands. Just place it somewhere safe. Next we have Video Bokeh mode. In video recording mode, we have a dedicated toggle for the video bokeh effect, and once you enable it, you can record video with a background blur effect for your subject. Here's a quick sample. So guys, this is another sample footage recorded using the Realme GT Neo 2 using the blurred video feature where the background is in blur and the subject is in focus. I'll just walk around so you can check out how good it works. Well, obviously the edge direction isn't that perfect, but it's just a nice feature to get a different footage. So if you like it, you can give it a try. Next we have Always On Display. Now this is something you might have already heard or seen, and you can enable this feature from the display settings. Once you enable this feature, you can see your clock face on the lock screen. With that said, here's a quick preview. By the way, we can also schedule it to automatically turn on and turn off at a specific time. Next we have Dark mode. This is another famous feature, and once you enable this feature, it'll change all the UI elements to the dark mode or the dark theme. Things like notification panel, home screen, or even settings all change to the dark mode. Some of the system applications like the phone dialer SMS application also change to the dark mode. Some Google applications like Play Store and YouTube also automatically change to the dark mode. Next we have Super Power Saver mode. Once you enable this feature, your phone turns on dark mode, restricts performance, reduces battery usage, and gives you few applications that you can use, and also gives you the option to add few more apps. In this mode, phone's standby time increases drastically. By the way, we can still use internet in this mode. It does consume more battery, but it is definitely better than the regular mode. Going on next, we can also change the screen refresh rate of this phone. By default, there are 3 options: 120Hz, 60Hz, and auto select. By default, it is set to auto select, where your phone automatically changes the screen refresh rate based on what you're doing. But personally, I'll set it to 120Hz to have a much more consistent experience. Next, we have eye comfort mode. It's just another name for the reading mode, and once you enable it, it puts a warm tint on the screen to reduce the blue light emitted from the display. It also has the black and white mode, where it turns the whole display black and white. Next, this phone also has Dolby Atmos sound enhancement. Now this feature is only available for the headset, and if you're using a headset, it can definitely improve your overall audio experience. We have a new navigation gesture called swipe from both sides. Now once you enable this feature, you can swipe from the bottom to go home, swipe and hold for recent tabs, and finally swipe from the left side or right side to go back a step. These are the new swipe gestures even seen on Android 10, and it's already available on this phone. Now going on next, we have a super handy shortcut to trigger Google Assistant with the power button. Once you enable this feature, you can long press the power button to trigger Google Assistant. It's a nice feature and can be quite useful while using the navigation gestures, but I don't think this power button will last longer if you use it continuously. Next, I'm going to show you how to take screenshots on this phone. Well, there are mainly 2 ways. One is by using the buttons. Just press the volume down and power button both at the same time to take a screenshot. Next, we also have the 3-finger screenshot gesture. Once enabled, you can just swipe down using 3 fingers to take a screenshot. By default, this gesture is always enabled. Next, I'm going to show you how to take a long screenshot. First, take a screenshot. You can either use the buttons or the gesture. Once you have the preview of the screenshot, just swipe it down to take a long screenshot. If you have already opened the screenshot, you can click this button to take a longer screenshot. Next, we have partial screenshot. For this feature, we are going to use that 3-finger screenshot gesture in a different way. Once you enable this feature, you can just touch and hold the screen to take a partial screenshot. You just need to place the 3 fingers, then slide it slowly to take a partial screenshot. Now going on next, this one even comes with screen recording. I really don't know why you want to record your screen, especially on an Android phone, but for some reason if you want to record it, you can start it from the notification toggles, or you can also use the smart bar, which can be accessed from anywhere by swiping on the right side corner. You can stop recording by clicking the stop button on the floating bubble. Next, we have flash on call. Once you enable this feature, every time you get a call, flashlight on the phone blinks to give you an indication. This feature can be quite useful when your phone is in silent mode. Next, we have a feature called vibrate when you answer an end call. Just like the name suggests, every time you answer a call or end a call, your phone vibrates. It's not a big feature, but adds to the overall experience. Next, we have a feature that identifies unknown numbers. Once you enable this feature, whenever you get a call from any unknown number, your phone will check its online database and try to find the contact name. This can be quite useful to check spam calls. Next, we have a feature called Screen On End Calls with Power Button. Once you enable this feature, you can end calls by pressing the power button when the display is on. When the display is off, clicking the power button just turns on the display. Next, we have split screen mode. Now, split screen mode has been on Android for a very long time, but on this phone, we have some more features. Now, to start a split screen mode, as always, you can simply press and hold the recent tabs button, or on this phone, you can also use the 3-finger gesture. Simply swipe up using 3 fingers to open the current application in a split screen mode. You can choose a secondary application from the list below. Personally, I like this gesture and I wish every other phone has it. Next, we have some screen off gestures like double tap to wake. Just enable it and double tap the screen to wake it up. Next, you can draw a node to open the camera application. We can also draw a V to toggle the torch. We can also draw characters like greater than or less than for music controls. And finally, you can add custom gestures like you can draw a W to open WhatsApp, M for phone dialer, and so on. Next we have raise to wake. Now once you enable this feature, you can simply raise your phone or pick it up from a table and your phone wakes up and then displays the lock screen. Next we have flip to mute incoming calls. Now just like the name suggests, once you enable this feature, you can flip your phone to silence an incoming call. Next we have one-handed mode. You can enable this feature from the toggles, and once you click on it, screen size will shrink and your phone becomes much more usable one-handed. Once you're done, you can click the button on the top corner to go full screen. Next we have digital well-being. Now this is a feature from Google that tracks all your usage on your phone and gives you a complete analysis of which apps you're using more, and then helps you limit your usage and block notifications from those applications. Next we have wind down. This feature is part of digital well-being, which can help you sleep faster at night. Using this feature, you can schedule your phone to turn on grayscale mode and do not disturb mode automatically at a specific time. Next we have OSIE visual effect. This feature slightly improves the picture quality of the display by making content from apps like TikTok, VMeet and more look more pleasing. It does work, but right now only few applications support it and it does drain your battery. Now going on next, this phone has a very unique feature called Smart Sidebar. It is enabled by default and this is how it looks like. You have some quick shortcuts, quick actions and some quick applications. You can access it from anywhere. Even while watching videos or playing games in full screen mode, you can swipe near the notch area to bring it up. From here you can quickly launch applications, take a screenshot, record the screen, block banner notifications and finally open few applications in a floating window. Next we have assistive ball. Now just in case if navigation gestures are not really your thing, but you still want a much more immersive experience, you can enable assistive ball. Once you enable this feature, you'll see a floating bubble that can do multiple actions. Now first you need to select the operation mode. You have gestures and tap mode. I'll go with gestures. Now you can tap once to go back, double tap for multitasking, and touch and hold to go home. If you select tap, once you click it, you just get additional options, just like the iPhones and iPads. Now this is another way to interact with your phone and gives you a much more immersive experience. Next we have Startup Manager. Now just like the name suggests, it's a feature that allows you to stop applications from auto starting in the background. Now most of these applications automatically start in the background and then drain your battery life. And for the most part, just applications like maybe Instagram or WhatsApp needs to be allowed to auto start. So you can disable auto start permission for all these applications and further improve the battery life. Next, we have an app lock built into the system, and unlike most phones, we can unlock locked applications either by using the password or the fingerprint scanner, and even by using the face unlock feature. So if you're already using face unlock feature on your phone, most of the time you won't even see the lock screen. Now because of this one particular feature, you can lock any application you want and you won't be inconvenienced in any way. Next we have clone apps, which is a feature that allows you to use two instances of the same application. Like you can have two WhatsApp accounts, two Facebook accounts and two Instagram accounts on the same phone. This is definitely a very handy feature, but it is still limited to only very few applications. Let's say if I want to use two Paytm accounts on the same phone, we can't do that. Next we have Game Space. Now this feature or application just tries to improve your gaming experience and gives you a lot more cool features. Now once you add all your games to this Game Space and then open that game, your phone will divert all the resources to improve your gaming experience. It means faster game load speeds, better visuals, and more than that, it gives you the option for Do Not Disturb mode, where you won't be interrupted with annoying notification sounds or visual disturbances like banner notifications. You also have different power profiles to improve the performance or battery life. It also gives you the option to disable auto brightness, which is missing on many phones out there. Next we have Private Safe. Now this feature is more like an application or like a vault where you can hide all kinds of files. Just like the app lock, we can have a completely different password from your lock screen and we can unlock it using your fingerprint or your facial data. Personally, I suggest you to use Gallery Vault. Next we have Automatic On-Off. Now this is another weird name for schedule power on and power off. And using these settings, we can automatically turn on and turn off your phone at a specific time. Next we have Kid Space. If your kid is troubling you about your phone, he wants to play some games or maybe sometimes he accidentally purchases stuff, kid space can be quite useful for you. Once you configure this kid space, your kid will be able to only use specific applications that you choose, and he will be able to use your phone only for a specific amount of time. Once again, it's a nice feature, but if your kid already knows your password, it's completely useless. So guys, those were all the best features. If I missed out on anything important, do let me know by commenting below this video, and make sure you check out my video on tips and tricks section. Link will be in the description. Now, if you're planning to buy this phone, please use the link in the description. It always helps the channel, and if you want us to make any specific video, tweet out to us with the hashtag AskGreedyTech on Twitter, and I'll try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off. Have a nice day.